ene na adibi eboboba a free political highway ni sunti share da ebe ma mo hint eno ena ye drop the ma eye IMF omo document bi expose Afenyo Markins nene Sammy Gyamfi aba strippe Afenyo Markins naked asan so I expose no 8.2 million lost it is during the time at ECG or a board chairman ewo ECG no abusua ene Sammy Gyamfi sorry aba be disgrace Afenyo Markins or say Afenyo Markins one na ma oka say gold board no omo aboka 1.7 billion no enye no kre masa or the document or kasa no way document na to pam and as a bam or kasa no way document na ato bam na we ena emma ehye na komama ne expose Afenyo Markins or kasa what Afenyo Markins when you know how they kasa during our time at a ECG board chairman no oboka 8.2 million Ghana cedis wokra no say yeye na yehwehwe won nsem abusua Afenyo Markins ene Sammy Gyamfi amane de nensa aguneti animguase chinchirinchi wama Sammy Gyamfi aguno no enye asam keto yenko ti ensema Sammy Gyamfi edi to dwa or expose Afenyo Markins ene sa ne gold board propaganda and as allegation lost or cast a gold board lose no abutua mama yenko ti ba ya de aka ebeto am so unsubscribe ya subscribe hit on the notification bell no so send be any update be ebe drop no wonsa ebetumi akabia ha gossip politics TV so na answer na ebe ko Ghana ha say open computer papa and a laptop papa na we use abura periodic computers and accessories ho and obenya laptop papa na we using the location enya ira kwan Kumasi Buokrom Estate Eli ade ba kwa ede wo mni say okura low budget no obema high quality laptop na we use yembonra yensem ye ba ya de aka beto am.
Whether I'm jittery, well, I believe you should know me better. My good brother Felix says something. He says politics is a contact sport. And so when you are involved in politics, you are involved in boxing. You should be ready for tackles. You should be ready for punches. And some of us are vaccinated against political mischief. We've taken the vaccine, so we are not worried at all. But what I want to say is this. If the one under whose tenure as board chairman as ECG, where ECG recorded a loss of 8.2 billion, is not facing any onerous bail terms, then how can Sammy Gyamfi, under whose tenure the gold board has exported 170 tons of gold through former channels and brought into this country over 17 billion United States dollars in 1.5 years, face onerous bail terms? Under your tenure, not a gram of gold produced in Ghana was refined in Ghana. Today, over 9 metric tons just this year of gold we have bought, refined in Ghana. We are changing the value addition story. So you see, such statements are reckless. They are what I call the fanciful efficiency of a palm wine bar. You take it as comic relief. And it is very sad. You see, when we say this, he says we are not insulting him. This is somebody occupying a seat once occupied by the Venerable J.H. Mensah, the Venerable Papa Uzu Ankoma, or Seiche Mensah Bonsu. Look at the depth and the substance of these personalities. When they rose to speak on parliament, look at the command they commanded across the aisle. And look at how this seat has now been so bastardized and depraved by a noisemaker who cannot even read and research and get his facts right. So I will go to prison in his brain, and I will have onerous bail terms in his brain. I'm not afraid of any intimidating tactics, because we are serving Ghana in good conscience, and our resource and posterity will speak for us. Thank you very much. And assaying gold is not free. It costs us money, consumables, workers, machines to assay gold. And that is why we must be paid an assay fee. It is not free money. Let's understand that. The service fee of 0.5% paid the gold board in 2025 was also the same fee paid the PMMC and all other aggregators of the Bank of Ghana under the domestic gold purchase program from 2022 to 2025. This fee is also not free money. As the name suggests, the Bank of Ghana agreed to pay a service fee in the year 2023 to all its aggregators, PMMC and Refuting, to cover the cost of transportation, security, insurance, and smelting losses incurred through the aggregation of gold from the 13 mining regions of Ghana for the Bank of Ghana by its buying agents. And I will give you incontrovertible evidence to that effect. This is their own agreement. They marked it confidential. I don't see why they should have marked this September 2023 gold purchase agreement as confidential. It's a matter of public interest. So I will show you what that so-called service fee is all about, and whether or not it is Sammy Gyamfi who has come to impose a service fee on Bank of Ghana, which has now caused the Bank of Ghana to incur losses. This is page 10 of that agreement, and if you need a copy, I'll give you a copy. And if you look at clause 6.3, sub clause 13, in fact, let me start from sub clause 12. Buyer, the buyer is Bank of Ghana, and the agent is PMMC. Buyer shall bear the cost of assay, which shall be the prevailing rate of assaying Dory gold. The assay invoice shall be submitted to the buyer on the first week of every month for payment. 13. Buyer shall bear the buying agent service charge. The buying agent service charge, into bracket, operational cost of 0.5% of the utilized portion of advance funds for acting as buying agent or buyer, unless otherwise agreed in writing between the parties. The service charge or fee shall cater for logistics and transport cost, insurance, security, smelting loss, and trade margins. The service charge or fee shall be reviewed annually by both parties as market conditions changes. This is in the 2023 gold purchase agreement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if the gold board is to blame for losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana in 2025 because it was paid a legitimate fee for its services, who then caused the losses of the Bank of Ghana in 2022, 2023, and 2024 under the domestic gold purchase program? It means that all the people the Bank of Ghana paid fees to, the same fee, they caused the loss. That is what they are saying. Was it the PMMC or the Refuting? Afenyo Markin should answer this question too. Is he saying that losses incurred by MEF in their gold trade or any other private gold exporter is attributable to the PMMC or gold board because we charge and we're paid a lawful fee approved by Parliament for our assay fees? Then we should be charging Parliament rather for causing the loss because Parliament approved the fees. Ladies and gentlemen, are losses incurred by Cocoa Board blamed on its license buying companies because they are paid a margin of 12.75% on the producer price? This same buying agent arrangement between Bank of Ghana, Refuting, PMMC, Gold Board is the same arrangement that governs how cocoa is purchased. And what is that arrangement? Cocoa Board gives seed money to license buying companies that go and buy cocoa. And when you bring the cocoa, I will pay you a margin of 12, not 0.5, 12.75%. So it means that every year when Cocoa Board declares losses, we should blame the losses on license buying companies because they will pay fees. That is a paucity of reasoning being canvassed by Afenyo Markin and his followers. Is it right for an exporter or trader or business who incur, like media houses, you all have businesses, you have service providers, you have agents who you pay fees, your technicians, your plumbers. Your fee, the fee you pay is part of your cost, and you are therefore supposed to ensure that your revenue, or if you are trading a commodity, your selling price is enough to cater your cost. If you don't do that and you incur a loss, you don't blame your plumber or your technician or your service providers who performed services and were paid fees for their services as a reason for your loss. Where in the world is one body corporate blamed for accounting losses incurred by another independent, separate, and distinct body corporate without any evidentiary basis? Ladies and gentlemen, the IMF says that reported losses under the domestic gold purchase program in 2025 largely stem from the spread between Forex Bureau rate paid to purchase gold and the CD reference rate used for BOG's accounting. And that since Gold Board, MPP says, not the MPP, the Afenyo Markin, says, because Gold Board was the one buying the gold, then Gold Board should be blamed because of the gap between the Forest Bureau rate and the Bank of Ghana rate. The answer is very simple. The September 2023 gold purchase agreement that I've shown you, which predates Sammy Gyamfi and the Gold Board in this conversation, provides for the price and exchange rate at which gold is to be bought by PMMC and, for that matter, every buying agent. These are express prescriptions of the principle captured in a signed contract that predates the Gold Board. A buying agent cannot vary agreed terms in a written contract without consequences. Afenyo Markin should tell Ghanaians at what price an exchange rate was gold bought by buying agents such as PMMC and RSFI. And I'm going to publish that tomorrow. They were buying gold at exchange rates as high as 17 Ghana cedis in 2024. So when you agents were buying gold at 17 Ghana cedis to the dollar, because you had so mismanaged the economy that at some point you needed 16, 17 cedis to get a dollar. And that is the exchange rate at which you were buying gold. You are saying that PMMC was causing losses for the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana designed under the domestic gold purchase program that because they were in crisis and they needed foreign exchange, they will buy gold at the exchange rate. That gold has been bought since we started mining gold over a century ago. This is not the creation of Gold Board, which was established in April 2025. Then the fourth claim under this new theory that, Gold Board has not made losses, but Gold Board is responsible for losses made by Bank of Ghana. They say that the reported domestic gold purchase program losses stems from Gold Board's trade model and that the program was implemented through the Gold Board in 2025. So Gold Board is responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, although the Gold Board was established in April 2025, it was not until March 2026 that it commenced the implementation of its trade model envisaged under the Gold Board Act. This is because the Gold Board received its revolving seed capital budgeted for it in the 2025 budget as late as 30th December 2025. Also, the Gold Board had to put in place the necessary institutional measures and systems before takeoff. The trade model implemented by the Bank of Ghana in the year 2025, which the IMF has reported on, was evidently the domestic gold purchase program model. When did the domestic gold purchase program become Gold Board's trade model? And how can the domestic gold purchase program that the MPP in the past have given the credit, to Bawumia for, be said to be arising, losses under that program be said to be arising from a Gold Board model, when the Gold Board model only started in March 2026? Because of what I've already explained, our seed capital coming as late as 30th December 2025, and the need for us to put in place the necessary institutional, systems and framework before takeoff. Then they make another claim in their press statement that the reported domestic gold purchase program losses is partly caused by hidden offtake discounts determined by Gold Board. The answer is also very simple. As I've already explained, ladies and gentlemen, the PMMC or Gold Board was only a buying agent under the domestic gold purchase program. Its role ended at buying gold. It had no role in selling gold or signing offtake agreements. Therefore, it could not determine offtake discounts. It must, however, be noted that offtake discounts are a standard feature of gold doré trades. The BOG did extremely well in 2025 in reducing offtake discounts from as high as 2.2% in 2024 under the MPP to 1.2% in 2025. This fact can be verified by anyone from the BOG, and this discount, offtake discount, cannot by any stretch of imagination be the reason for reported losses, because discounts are a standard feature for particularly the sale of doré gold, raw gold, anywhere in the world. You sell gold, if you're selling gold in its raw form, and even in its refined form, there is a discount. And you don't see that losses are as a result of that, unless you can show that the discounts were unreasonably high and not in conformity with industry practice. Now, other false claims that I'll deal with quickly and then I'll conclude. The gold board, the Afenyo Markin says that the gold board has sold gold and made losses. And that no one should sell gold and make losses. When they turn gold, Boka says those who recorded $400 million loss under domestic gold purchase program in 2024, according to the IMF they are quoting. And this is also coming from the same people under whose tenure another state institution, MEF, implemented a gold purchase program and recorded losses to the tune of over $90 million. Today, they want to give us lectures on gold trading. Ladies and gentlemen, I have news for them. We will not take moral lessons from the brothel. Then number two, they say, why has the Bank of Ghana pulled out of financing the gold board if gold board is not making losses? Number one, the Bank of Ghana has not pulled out from anything. The MPP government decided that it will run a program called Domestic Gold Purchase Program, which will be managed by the Bank of Ghana. And they designed that program in a certain way, which I will talk about it. President Mahama promised to reset Ghana, including the gold trade sector. And his reset is the gold board. The act has been passed and the gold board is ready for takeoff. And so this new gold board model as envisioned under the Gold Board Act is not anchored on Bank of Ghana financing gold board. The gold board has been given the powers under Section 18 of the Gold Board Act by Parliament to raise money for itself from the financial markets. And so if the gold board wants to assert that statutory mandate, and for that matter, the Bank of Ghana has to end what it was doing under the domestic gold purchase program, you don't look at that and say, oh, that means gold board was doing something wrong. I can tell you that as we speak, the IMF and the Bank of Ghana are all engaging gold board that they still want to be our fiscal agents under the gold board model, where they will be raising money for us as an intermediary. It is the gold board that is rather saying, no, we will do it ourselves. So that claim is not true. And then you hear him say that, oh, gold board was being paid some fees, and it is because of the noise they made that the fees were reduced. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I brought evidence here. And if you need the evidence, I'll give it to you. That evidence is a letter dated October 29, 2025, way before the MPP ever held a press conference on gold board or domestic gold purchase program in 2025. Because the first press conference they held in the aftermath of the IMF report on domestic gold purchase program was in December. If you recall, we were celebrating Christmas at the time, December 2025. But by October 29, 2025, the Gold Board and Bank of Ghana, through negotiations, had reduced the fees to 0.6. Does that mean there was something wrong? No. What it meant was that the Gold Board was more efficient in aggregating gold, that they didn't need 0.75%. We conceded, upon request by Bank of Ghana, that we could do with little and still achieve better results. And number two, the quantity of gold we're buying had gone up, and gold prices have skyrocketed. And therefore, even if we reduce our fees, we knew that we could still cater for ourselves. So that was an act of patriotism and not because of the noise of a rabble-rouser. Now, number four, and I'm wrapping up. They say, oh, Gold Board takes credit for the upside of the domestic gold purchase program, but the Gold Board does not take the blame for the downside. So we are being double standard. The Gold Board has not taken any credit for any upside of any domestic gold purchase program. We are saying that President Mahama's vision in establishing the Gold Board, even though we did not begin the full implementation of that mandate in 2025, we were able to contribute substantially to the volume of gold that we aggregated as buying agent for the Bank of Ghana, in ways that the PMMC, our antecedent, could never do and never did. And that was because of the effective aggregation system, the competitive pricing, and the other measures we introduced in 2025. And so we talk about the quantum of gold we were able to buy because of how we were able to plug leakages, intensify the fight against smuggling, reduce gold that was going out through informal channels and all that. That is what we talk about. And so let them get the facts correct. Then they talk about what commercial risk was Gold Board bearing under the domestic gold purchase program. Ladies and gentlemen, is it easy to be giving 133 billion Ghana cedis in a year, cash, bank transfer money, to buy gold in the market and not burn 1 cedi of that? Can our former board chairman of ECG, Afenyo Markin, under whose tenure in 2024 the ECG recorded a loss of 8.2 billion, boast of such competence? The answer, I believe, should be obvious. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what is the Gold Board's official position on this issue of domestic gold purchase program losses? Because somebody may get the impression that because we are defending ourselves against a lie peddled against us, then it means that we are saying, oh, Bank of Ghana is to blame, or we are throwing Bank of Ghana under the bus. No, that is not the case. The position of the Gold Board has been stated by my good self, my humble self, time without number, that the losses recorded by the Bank of Ghana under the domestic gold purchase program since inception, not just in 2025, is not because of mismanagement or incompetence by the current managers, but those losses are a product of policy design. It was the MPP that designed the domestic gold purchase program that way, that they will not pursue profits, but they will pursue foreign exchange, because at the time they had no access to the capital market to borrow on the Eurobond market and bring in dollars to show up, the currency. So they chose foreign exchange over profit by policy design. And that is why since 2021, that program never made profits. And that is why they announced in the year 2022 November that effective January 2023, they were going to buy gold at spot prices. It was the MPP that introduced spot gold purchases in Ghana. And I dare anybody to challenge me. Because before 2023, gold was bought by private individuals, foreigners and locals, and they bought it between 1% discount to 2% discount. But in desperation for gold, the then government decided that we will buy gold at spot price. And that is contained in this report by Graphic Online, dated November 2028, 2022, and attributed to the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, who announced the policy. Who buys gold at spot price and yet seeks profits? So that was their policy design. It was not for profit, and that is why they never made profit. But as they made losses in the past under they will pay gold for oil and all that, Ghanaians did not see any commensurate economic benefits. What we are saying is that in the case of the Bank of Ghana, yes, the loss may be bigger because according to the IMF, the program was scaled up, it was expanded. Not because somebody stole money or somebody was incompetent. But in this case, you see measurable, economic benefits. Unprecedented currency appreciation of 41%, which led to inflation coming down for 12 consecutive months. You saw a drop in the public debt by more than 100 billion Ghana cedis and significant savings to the government. That is what we are saying, that this was the price the Bank of Ghana had to pay under this program, poorly designed by the erstwhile government for the stability we enjoy. We are not saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a call for a parliamentary probe, and I've already stated on public record that with bated breath for Afenyo Markin's invitation. He's delaying and holding press conferences when, as minority leader, he can get the Public Accounts Committee to summon me tomorrow or today, and I will appear. I saw him dabbling in some confusion about standing orders of parliament and the fear that the majority may oppose a call for a probe into this matter. Well, I have, in all humility, reached out to the new majority leader in Parliament, Honorable James Agaga, and I've pleaded with him that even if Afenyo delays in a you don't need any special motion. You don't need any special by the speaker. Just get Public Accounts Committee to invite us. and come and sit down there and come and demonstrate to the whole nation where the good board made losses or how the good board is to blame for losses made by another institution. We are waiting for that. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I want to urge you, our friends in the media, in all humility and the Ghanaian public, to hold Afenyo Markin and others who make allegations about losses to the strictest standard of proof, particularly in the light of the detailed facts I have placed before you today. Let me state that the persistent noise from people like him does not arise from any genuine quest for accountability or any sincere desire to interrogate the operations of the Gold Board. Rather, it is a part of a calculated smear campaign aimed at undermining the significant contribution Gold Board is making to the economic transformation agenda of President Mahama's administration. The likes of Afenyo Markin simply cannot reconcile themselves with the transformational work of Gold Board because they appreciate the important role it has played in the historic appreciation of the Ghana cedi and the significant strengthening of Ghana's international reserves, developments that are contributing to improved economic conditions for the Ghanaian people. Afenyo Markin's continuing antics, listen carefully here. Afenyo Markin's continuing antics must therefore be seen for what they are: a desperate smear campaign by persons who have specialized in sophistry and political blackmail in pursuit of selfish ends. Hope that you will fold and settle for what they call, quote, compulsory arbitration and oil their palms. Well, this time around, they found their own target. The Ghanaian people deserve serious public discourse founded on facts, evidence, not endless recycling of falsehoods in the hope that repetition will lend them credibility and turn fiction to facts.
So abusuya we ne ensma course so our political highway so Sammy Gyamfi and HSA was stripping Afenyo Markins naked ye the brem. But I must say some JP ne kokotisa and seminal edemai.